Hello everybody, I'm Jake.
And I'm Jeremy.
And this is Morning Musume Monday. For today, we'll be talking about Morning Musume's
Shabondama.
I would like to label this as the angry Morning Musume song, because it was angry.
We've reached a new level of anger in Morning Musume.
We've reached a new level of man-hating anger.
You know, I honestly think that through the phases of Morning Musume that each song is reflective of something that's going on in Tsunku's life, because I think he's secretly closeted. And so really, I think that...
That's gonna cause some controversy.
A lot of people don't like Tsunku.
I know, but that's still gonna cause some controversy.
So I think he's having man problems, and that's why this song was made.
Man, period.
Shabondama is the very first single for a brand new generation. We have featured in this video Fujimoto Miki, who was previously a Hello Project soloist.
But she looks like Abe's evil twin.
Tanaka Reina, Kame-eri, and Michishige Sayumi. It should also be noted that this is one of the 5th generation's more favorite songs because it was the very first single in which they became senpais. Speaking of which, let's talk about that for a second. Throughout the music video, there are several different close-up scenes, and a few of them are of the different generations. Now we have a whole setup of the 6th generation. They're kind of laying down seductively almost, even though they're probably the youngest of the group. Then you have the 5th generation who are kind of just standing kind of away from each other, kind of just looking at the camera like, yep. And then you have the 4th generation who are so acclimated to the group already that they're just kind of like, we're Morning Musume. We're gonna stand here because we were told to.
You want,
but you know, we're awesome. And then you have the senpai who all get bunched together in a couch.
They get a couch because they're senpais. And that also signifies their status as senpais because all the other girls have to stand or drape themselves over the set. Senpais,
they get to
get
say
a
it.
Couch.
This is also the very first single that does not feature Yasudake, which makes me a little bit sad because I really like her and I miss her voice now. However, I don't know how much she would have been featured in this video, considering that this was really a 6th generation song. As stated in the previous video, we're seeing a back push of Ogawa and Kono, and I think that was even more prominent in this video, considering that Ogawa got one yelling line, and Kono didn't even get a complete sentence. She got 2 words, and I think she may have gotten a single Shabondama, but she got 2 words. Not even a complete sentence. Sayumi finished it.
Ogawa was not just kind of, when you say like a pushback, like it was a literal pushback because almost the entire song, all the other girls are right here, and then Ogawa was like back here like this, like, I'm in the very back.
She was in the very back.
Nobody likes me.
That being said though, Ai and Gaki are both being pretty prominent as far as their generation is concerned. Another thing that is important to note about it is that Rika is continuing to get pushed through her generation, as well as Aibon. Suji and Yoshi are kind of taking a backseat as far as the 4th gen is concerned, but they did get a lot of screen time. Rika got the speaking line as like she did in the piece, so we're seeing a throwback to that, I suppose, of Rika being the speaking member of the group.
The speaking part here was weird. I don't know how I felt about it because it was almost a little like obsessive creepy. At first I was like, oh, how sad, but then I was like, oh, that's a little creepy because it was like, it was cute at first, but then it was like, it started turning manic, and it went from, you know, oh my goodness, you do love me so, don't you, and I love you, and why are you talking on your phone? Put your phone away. You shouldn't be talking on your phone, you should be paying attention to me. You should be looking at me. Hold me. Hold me! And it got, you know, turned into creep, kind of Susie Stalker, creepy right there.
What are you taking pills for?
Vitamins. Make sure you take your vitamins, kids. We interrupt this MMJJ for a public service announcement. First of all, I would just like to point out once again that this was a very angry song. We started by watching the PV that was on Morning Musume's official channel, so it didn't have subs. So I'm watching, I'm like, man, that's an angry song. I wonder what all the lyrics mean. I bet it's pretty much like, you suck, I hate you, screw men, and all those good, you know, sentiments. And then we watched the sub version, and then there was a sentence like, I'm awash in the soap of your love. So then I realized that these girls were very angrily shoving each other and kicking water and giving dirty looks to the camera, talking about soap bubbles. Which at first I was like, no, soap bubbles? But then I realized it's a very clever metaphor for love. Let's break down this metaphor, shall we? Brick by brick. So soap bubble. We get soap. What is a soap bubble? It's something that's created by chance. Like, you get foam usually when you wash your hands, but bubbles, like a true bubble, doesn't always happen. So first of all, a soap bubble is created by chance, and then it's there. Soap bubbles, I think, are pretty. They're pretty things. They catch the light. They reflect. They're fun. They're nice to look at, but they are popped in like with just the wrong kind of breeze, let alone being, you know, handled too tightly. And I think that's a very beautiful metaphor for love and for a relationship, because, you know, they're kind of created almost by accident, by chance. Sometimes they work, sometimes they do. When they do work, they're great, they're fun, they're awesome, but, you know, you hold it too tightly and they're gone, just like that.
Along that same vein, because it is an angry song and they're talking about how love is like soap bubbles just pop at whatever whim. It could just be a breeze, it could be touching it. And so to compare love to soap bubbles is like, all bubbles pop. There's no bubble, soap bubble at least, that has not popped. Every single bubble will pop. And so it kind of goes into that deep, angry side of all love is like this, all love is going to end, all love will stop. Love sucks. That was the vibe that I got from the whole metaphor. But I think it was also, like exactly what Jacob said, but I think that also is really clever in the way that they organized that.
I wonder what would happen if you blew a bubble in, like, a freezer. Would it freeze and turn into an ice bubble?
I don't know.
Could you make an ice bubble? We need to make ice bubbles. We need to try it. Can you make ice bubbles? Probably not, because the ice crystals expand and then it would make the bubble explode anyway. I felt like the music video was good. I felt like it was a little too creepy a couple times. Like, there was a couple, like, the filters they used with the grain and the bleach bypass and the shots of the girls being like in slow motion. I was getting a little bit of you know, The Ring, like, evil, like, your soul will be mine sort of thing. So that was a little off-putting, but it was very artistic and I liked it.
The music video itself was filmed as in an old picture. Like, it had the side reels that were coming up and would sometimes scratch it, and then it was bleached out, and sometimes it would fade, and then it would scratch and restart from a previous scene, and then it did a lot of that. And so I was curious about what the metaphor was. Is this maybe an old love that whoever the girl is in the story is looking back and being obsessive about it, and that's why it's filmed like an old movie, because it's like looking back into something that happened before. And so maybe the girl's like, but we were so good together, and then now we're not, and I need you again.
I imagine at the end of the day, all the girls were just pissed that they had to kick around that water for hours. I know I would be, because a lot of them were stuck in jeans, which, if you've ever gotten your jeans wet, you know they go from jeans, that comfy thing that you wear on a day-to-day basis, to jeans, why? And then you're just soppy and unhappy, and you've got jean burns all over you because the jeans get wet and then they attach to your skin and then you can't get them off, and it's just not fun. As usual, we had like a uniform costume dress, and then we had like street clothes. The street clothes were, I don't know, it almost looked like they just kind of pulled from the Morning Musume back lot, like the giant Morning Musume closet. And why wasn't there a summer nighttime dress? The costumes for the actual like main like sitting looking seductive part of the song, I liked, but then I didn't like. I couldn't tell what they were made out of. There were a couple shots they caught the light, and I swear they looked like they were made out of like rubber or latex, like Lady Gaga status. They didn't look comfortable for one. I liked the uniform look of them. Something about them like just kind of made me go like, but there's something here that's not, I'm not digging something. What is it? But I mean, maybe it's because they were so simplistic.
As far as the 6th generation is concerned, all of them got such a huge push in this song, and we never have seen that before, except for Godamaki. She was the only one that got such a gigantic push in her very first single. And so I think it's interesting that the song not only opened up with Reina, but then it went right into Miki as soon as Ai-chan's line was over. And the 6th generation got such a huge role in this single, and I thought that was crazy, because Morning Musume has never ever done that before, where the new generation got such a prominent feature in the video. Before we move into the question for this week, I wanted to share with you a funny Shabondama story. During one of the very first lives of Shabondama, they were doing a television performance of it. And while they were all dancing around, Sayumi threw her mic on accident. And she was dancing around and she threw it. And when they were doing the show to go back and talk about it, they show an up close of her face. And literally the mic goes flying out of her hand and she goes, no! And she just keeps dancing without it and has to kind of just fix it throughout the whole rest of the dance and pretend like it didn't happen. And she recovered pretty easily from it, but I thought it was a nice way to break up the tone of this song. Okay, so last week we asked you guys if you guys thought it was an appropriate single for Yasuda to graduate with. And basically all of you guys thought that it was a great single for her, but a lot of you thought that it probably would have been better for her to get a little more spotlight. I do want to point out from the collection of responses that we got, where that a lot of people said that Yasuda was really the backbone of Morning Musume, and that she and Yaguchi were great harmonizers. And I think after going back and looking at the music video and looking at you guys' comments, maybe this was an absolute perfect single for her to graduate with, because there were so many harmonies throughout the single, that maybe that was a reference to how much she contributed to Morning Musume, and the fact that all the girls were harmonizing with each other, maybe that was a reference to her and how much she did for the group.
So for this week's question, what we want to know is, after watching the video and listening to the song, do you think this song is an angry song? A creepy song? So yes, let us know. Angry or creepy? Leave the comments below. Let us know. Oh my god. Oh my gosh, you guys.
So thank you guys so much for watching. Join us next week when we review Go Girl Koi no Victory, and I'll see you guys every single day on this channel, because that's what I do around here. See you later. Peace out. Take him out.
愛する人はあなただけ